Hi, thanks for your presentation. I missed the beginning, so I'm not sure how ParEcon kind of came about socially and economically, where it's been practiced. And my question is, where is the model being practiced currently, and how does it differ between sort of complex capitalist urban societies and maybe smaller, more rural, not so capitalist and invaded societies? How does it?
Okay, so in terms of
those two contexts, I know it's a bit of a dichotomy, but
yeah. Okay, so in terms of people setting out in the society and like making a revolution and making a society that's completely ParEconish, there hasn't been one yet. But there's been a few societies that we think have approached it quite closely. So like Anarchist Spain would be an example. But we think that came pretty close to what we consider proper participatory economy. There are individual workplaces that do remunerate for efforts and that basically organize along participatory lines. But they don't practice participatory planning, of course, because you need you need your whole economy in order to do something like that. So they're still in the market system, but they do balanced job complexes, they do remuneration for effort and sacrifice, and they do operate by a workers' council system.
Yeah. So if you're interested, like if you go to Z Communications or go to our site PPSUK, you can see like a list of ParEcon-ish workplaces. Yeah. So there's like about sort of 20 or so, varying from, like Paul said earlier, coffee shops, publishers.
Yeah, there's two publishers. There's Southend Press and Arbiter Ring Publishing, I think. The New Standard, they don't exist anymore. Yeah, and there's Mondragon Bookshop and Coffee House, and there's a few other places as well.
Does that answer your question?
You asked where it came from as well, didn't you? Yeah, so well, basically it comes from anarchist and left Marxists' work on vision for society. It's people like Anton Pannekoek, for example. This comes from that background. So. I'm not pretending it's like a completely original new thing. I think you were...
Yeah. Actually, you mentioned Marxism as economic analysis, but did you actually read what Marx wrote about capitalism? Because I have the feeling, from your presentation or from your vision, that Marx made a few suggestions as well, but that they already went beyond what you actually suggested here. So that you always kind of question, how prices, how prices come into life, or what prices are, and how this work is distributed and all this kind of stuff. Actually, Marx tries to explain this on the capitalist conditions. So I wonder actually if you actually, somehow use Marx criticism somehow in your vision. But because I have the feeling, my understanding from Marx is actually somehow would go beyond this already, saying, okay, we don't have commodities. This is what Marx, one of the basic things, saying, okay, in a free society we don't have commodities. So, yeah, this is the question.
Okay, well, when I said commodity, I didn't mean commodity in the sense of something that exists on the market and is traded or something. I just meant any kind of thing that's produced and consumed. So that's just a different definition.
Yeah, but we also spoke of prices. What actually suggests you really spoke of commodities?
Not really, because when he talks price, he talks about market prices. And this wouldn't be, if they use prices, they wouldn't be priced in the same sense. Because there's no market, there's... Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 points about that question. One is, in terms of participatory economics, it's a set-out vision for an alternative economy. So you can read all the Marx and only really find like about a paragraph or so that's actually talking about what a detailed alternative to capitalism would look like. So in terms of your comment that this doesn't go beyond that, I disagree really strongly. It does. Marx doesn't, like I said, if you can read the whole lot, you'll get about a paragraph. So that's the first point. The second point about prices, I guess what goes past it is the participatory planning stage enables indicative prices. So essentially you're getting a real cost. So it's not, market underprices loads of stuff, particularly I think with kind of externalities and this kind of stuff.
But you know what I mean is actually, in Marx's vision, there are no costs in terms of money or in terms of prices because there's no money and there is no exchange in the sense of the exchange we have today. The distribution actually works completely different than we have today.
Yeah, well,
It is not a production of things for exchange.
But there's no exchange on one in this system either. It's a
Yeah,
private
but
economy.
what we have prices,
Those are indicative prices. They're there to sort of help give you something to like set your planning by. They're not actually prices.
But they talk of.
No, I said indicative prices.
I mean, you can get. I would suggest you read ParEcon, participatory planning, if that's your key point is about this difference between prices and costs, and I'd suggest you read that. But the general point about Marx, I don't get that at all. In terms of an alternative economic system, Marxism is essentially a critique of capitalism. It's not an outlined, detailed economic alternative.
That is true, but it's implicitly. He makes
we don't do
remarks, but
implicit.
it's also implicitly
explicit.
contained in this critique. Just to make another, these kind of splitting into workers and consumers council is another indication of that because it's actually keeps this kind of schizophrenia between on the morning we are workers, in the afternoon we are consumers.
Yeah, you're both all day. There's no schizophrenia. You're a fully adjusted person. You're not.
Everybody, does. But this is, I think it's nevertheless, I kind of think it's the thing to do this, maintains a certain schizophrenia what we have today as well. To be, now being worker, now being, consumer, doesn't it?
I'd say no. I mean, no, basically. Does anyone else want to comment? I mean, I'd suggest. Go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
when I didn't say Marx, I said left Marxists. So some people, like Marx doesn't talk about mission law, but some left Marxists actually do. But I'm just, I'm going to let other people ask questions now. And
I was going to say, do you know the Zapatista movement in Mexico?
yes,
Would you say they're close to participatory?
I haven't. I get the idea they are pretty much, but I don't know enough about like the details of institutions, like how they're organized in like concrete institutions. So I can't really comment. It seems to be like what I've read about them. They seem to be saying basically that.
Yeah,
And people seem to say that about them. And Handel actually uses them as an example. He says, talk to Zapatistas and they manage participatory planning just fine. But not knowing the exact, enough details myself.
Yeah, because they have councils, but obviously they don't have nested councils because they're quite small scale. But in terms of balanced job complexes, I mean that's, again, if we go back to there's nothing new here argument, or balanced job complexes are new. So that's Robin Hannell and Michael Albert's, I think, fantastic contribution to economic theory.
I think if you Anarchist mentioned it before.
Yeah, well, if you cite them and I can have a look, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's pretty much their invention, and that's very useful because it stops this kind of, we can all have a big workers' council, but if some people do all the intellectual work, as Paul kind of alluded to, then they're going to dominate the decision making, and there's loads of really good work in social psychology on how what you do is so important. So if you're low power, if you don't have these kinds of empowering roles, then you're less likely to feel the confidence to debate and give your opinion and stuff. So
not just that. I mean, if you don't know how the business
Yeah,
works,
then
I
the
mean,
knowledge
how are
is
you going to
right.
be able to argue we should do that differently because you don't know quite what's going on?